I took a lot of the training and began looking at how am I actually approaching clients. I'm approaching the clients on the basis of, do you have any openings? That's the wrong way. And that's why I was looked like a commodity person. And instead, like Kathleen coached me on this morning, it's looking for the gaps, eliminating pain, or creating gain for the client. So I took that and I've kind of restructured the things that Mike and the team has taught me, and I'm making a phone call, and every no is a great opportunity for me to find out what areas that person has a skills gap or has an operational problem more than it is getting a job order. Because I believe the job order will come if you ask the right questions.
Instead of hearing from us from the professor standpoint, if you will, as the coaches, to hear from kind of the people that are actually doing the raw work and how they're molding kind of what they're learning into actual results that they can share with you so that you can take those ideas back to your teams. Next up, we have Michael Santiago. And Michael just came on board a couple months ago. Michael works with both Francis and Kathleen. Welcome to the panel.
Long time no see, Mike. We're on the calls all the time.
Yep.
And I had a great call
twice a week
this morning, mind-blowing, which was fantastic.
Kathleen, I'm going to have you.
Cool. So, Michael, thanks for agreeing to share with the group. Just as a way of context, Michael hails from over in Tennessee, right across the state line from me. And when Michael signed up to join our one-on-one coaching program in Reboot, I knew I was going to like working with him when I read his headline on his LinkedIn profile, because it's so action-oriented. I could tell even by his headline in his LinkedIn profile that Michael Santiago is very implementation-oriented. And for us, that's a big part of our client avatar, is people who have a bias for action and implementation. So Mike's been working with us for 2 months. And Mike, start us out by telling us, what were the frustrations you were experiencing in your business that you wanted to shift or change when you started working with us, so we know where your starting point was?
Well, there are a couple frustrations. Number one, I wanted to move my business from complete contingency and making 5,000 phone calls a day to an engaged business and being able to leverage all the different aspects of how the recruiting industry was moving. Social media, email, because it's not about making 1,000 phone calls anymore. So those were the two key items I wanted to get. And I also wanted to kind of understand, because I had gotten into quite a few limiting beliefs, which Francis and I have been through a few. But that's kind of where I wanted to get my business. I wanted to get it to a point where it was fun again, that I could build significant amount of business, and I could do it with shared risk between clients and myself. That's kind of where I wanted to go.
So thanks for putting it out there. And I had asked you to share it because I knew it was very similar to what some of the people in the room are experiencing. I heard that yesterday come up in terms of some of their frustrations. So you've got close to 60 days under your belt now. Share with us where you've taken action, and how you've leveraged, because you have such a great bias toward action, how you've leveraged that.
Okay. First, real quick, just to set that answer and foundation, I'm a little different to everybody else. I'm more of a shoot, ready, aim, load the gun type person. Okay. Then I am a big planner and an experimenter and a verification person, and then go. It can be a great thing, but it also can be somewhat destructive if you're not careful and you don't structure yourself. So basically, I'll kind of try to answer your question best I can with the foundation. If I were to take my business plan, which I have, to the shredder and throw the whole thing away in the garbage, which I have, I would run my business, and my complete business plan will be based on 1 week, the entire week. And that week is based on presentations, send outs, first time interviews, first time recruiting calls, and that really drives the whole business. So that's kind of what I have settled into, because after this was over, it's so much information, like drinking from the fire hose, just trying to distill it down to the basic core. It really is the metrics and running your business every week. And by doing that and forcing yourself any way on the planet you can possibly do to get 8 presentations a day will expose all kinds of weaknesses you have. Mm-hmm. And that's where you can focus to fix everything. So that's kind of where I started, okay? Then from there, I took a lot of the training and began looking at how am I actually approaching clients? I'm approaching the clients on the basis of, do you have any openings? That's the wrong way. And that's why I was looked like a commodity person. And instead, like Kathleen coached me on this morning, it's looking for the gaps, eliminating pain, or creating gain for the client. So I took that and I've kind of restructured the things that Mike and the team has taught me. And I'm making a phone call, and every no is a great opportunity for me to find out what areas that person has a skills gap or has an operational problem, more than it is getting a job order. Because I believe the job order will come if you ask the right questions. Okay. So hopefully that's answered some of the question about kind of what I've done. Now, what I've implemented is a very good email campaign now that's running. It's completely automated, a completely LinkedIn campaign that's completely automated. And it is going after all of those questions and all of those briefings that we're on every week, taking that information and asking the questions operationally. How are you pivoting in the business? What are the things you're doing to pivot based on this to take advantage of other opportunities in your business, and getting in those conversations? That's completely shifted my business. And it's allowed me, in the 5 searches I have, one is an ongoing client, which is a really good client, but the other 4 are brand new clients, completely never done any business with them before. And all 4 are engaged or money up front, based on the scenario that I'm trying to help them solve a problem, not fill a job. So that's the shift I've made. It's not easy. I'm not perfect at it. But for me, coming out of manufacturing, which is what I do, it's a lot of fun, because I like asking those questions, because I've walked in those shoes and I feel most comfortable. So now I don't have anxiety making a marketing call, because I don't care.
That's huge. That is huge.
Because I don't care if they say no. To me, no is a conversation. I care less. And it doesn't matter to me. You know, and an email that says we don't have any openings, I love that. That's awesome. And the other thing I've made a shift in my business too is when I get a LinkedIn response, somebody connects with me, that's a phone call. So immediately they get a phone call. If somebody sends an email back to me saying, gee, we don't have any openings, thanks for contacting, that's a phone call. Okay, they're in the planner. I don't answer those emails. I call them. If I get the voicemail, then I send them an email, and then they go into my touch plan. Okay. So for me, at the beginning of this program, trying to figure out how in the hell am I going to get 8 marketing presentations, making phone calls, there's no way I could do it. So I had to find another way to do it. And that's kind of what I've learned to do. But this right here, I need some more of these. I got to order some more of these little pad that Mike gives you with the little. This is what I use. This sheet is driving my entire business. If I had to do a business plan, here would it be. The rest of it is just doesn't matter because you got to run your business on a week to week. And if you set your goals and you do it, you'll find out how lousy you are at stuff. And that's where you can get better.
So some of you might not be able to see what Michael's holding up. It's a very high touch, but quality tech way of tracking your metrics. So it brings you back to the scan sheets of high school where you're tracking your MPs and your RPs. And it just allows you to see that the truth is your friend. You track what you do, and it is what it is. Yeah.
Now, from a business perspective, I haven't had a lot of the big results like other people have, but I've only been in this 2 months. But what I see is a pipeline going from very little to very big in 60 days. I sent out an offer this morning, again, to a client I've never had that paid me $4,000 for the search. I just finished up a face-to-face today, and the client's going to prepare an offer. I have another face-to-face Monday, one Wednesday, and one Friday, all different clients. So I didn't have that before, and they're all there. They're hiring these people because they're trying to resolve a problem that they have, not fill a job. Okay, so that's been the big mind-blowing shift for me on this whole thing.
Thank you for sharing it, Michael. I appreciate you being so articulate. You know that I think it's a pleasure to work with you. So, Michael, thank you.
Thank you.
You're like, when we talk about you behind your back in a good way, Michael, that you don't know in our coaches meeting, and all our clients, we talk about you behind your back in a really good way. Because one, we're like, who needs help? Who's really excelling? And the conversation is, because this goes back to kind of what we talked about, I think, when you joined us in the 4C model, and what I've been talking about for the last 2 days is making a decision, right? Mm-hmm. So you just made a decision, and I'm kind of like you. I'm like, and my team hates me for it because I'm fire, ready, aim, right? And then let's create some chaos that we can then filter through. Okay, well, this little thing worked. Well, that's kind of neat, right? Versus getting so caught up in our heads about being perfect, right? And when you go out that way and you just make a decision and you execute, one, you brought in a higher level of questions, even though they weren't scripted perfectly for you in your head. But you just engage at a higher level because recruiters aren't asking hiring managers those questions. They're not engaging in a strategic business conversation. They're going, need help, filling openings, emails, whatever.
Funny thing about it too is sometimes when I ask these questions, you get a long pause because they don't expect that. They haven't heard that. And they're like, what do you mean? So that's kind of fun, actually.
So the feedback you get, just so we can stack evidence for those that are, in want to buy a pig mode, that want to get out of want to buy a pig mode, what's been the reception? Has anyone said, why the hell are you asking me this question? You said you're getting a long pause. What's been the overall reaction to these kind of dialogues from a recruiter?
No one has ever said to me, why the hell are you asking me these questions, or I don't have time. In fact, several people have said, well, I don't have time right now. And I say, well, I just want to ask you one question. And then I end up on the phone with them for 20 minutes. So, it's kind of like that. But, you get into that. Now I'm going to another level with Kathleen, and when she talked to me about this morning, and I don't know how much time we have, but I'll tell you a quick story. We were just on the call this morning, which is a great coaching call. And one of the things I'm getting is I know the job orders are there, and I'm getting them. I know they're there. Everybody tells you they don't have any openings, and they all lie, so don't listen to them. As far as I'm concerned, there are always openings. But I start asking the questions like, look, I know you don't have any openings. It's not why I called. You must have an incredible team. Tell me what the best skills you have on your team. I'm really interested because I talk to VPs all the time, and I can share some information with you. And there isn't a person in the world that doesn't want to toot their horn or blow their horn, right? So they tell you all about it. And then you say, well, what areas that frustrate you? I mean, what areas in the plant that you have today that are real weakness that might hurt you? So I picked up the phone and I tried it with a guy right after I got off the phone with you, and I had placed this guy before, and I knew him, he was a plant manager, and he emailed me, said didn't have any openings, so he was on my call list anyway. So I called him, and I went through these questions, and he said, the biggest problem I have is safety right now. Our safety program sucks. I got 1,000 people in this meat processing plant, people walking around with knives, so we don't have it. And I said, well, tell me more about the person running the safety program. He said, well, they're a younger person. We're probably going to have to move them. Well, anyway, long story short, he introduces me to the vice president of safety, gives me the phone number. I call him. He says, yes, we're going to be working through that. We're probably going to move the person. So I said, great. So why don't we work together? I can help you with the job definition. He said, yeah, that's super. You got to talk to HR too. So transfer me to HR, talk to HR, got their information together for them. And they said, what do you focus on again? So I focus in this area. Oh, we didn't know that. So in one contact, I got 3 presentations. Number one, because I'm always after the presentations, and I got a potential job order, and I got an introduction to HR, which you normally can't get, but you got to have as a rubber stamp.
Right.
So perfect example of just don't make a call to find a job, make a call to find pain or issues, So thank you for that. Kind of cool.
Great stories.
What I wanted to, the reason I wanted to ask Mike about that is so to give you all confidence that you can up your game with your questions, because people come to me that don't know us or they attend a training like this and they're looking for a pitch. And I hate that word and I use it on purpose. A pitch is a presentation too, where I just talk at you about the benefits of using me and how I'm wonderful. Where the way you get great clients is you ask great questions.